This is Glenn Healy.
Hi, this is Braden Holtby.
This is Daryl Sutter.
Hi, this is Brian Burke.
This is Jordan Tutu.
This is Keith Morrison.
This is Kelly Rudy.
Hi, this is Scott Hartnell.
Hey, everybody. My name is Theo Fleury.
This is Tim McAuliffe of Sportsnet, and you're listening to the Sean Newman Podcast.
So we're going to slide into your T-Bar 1 tale of the tape. Originally from Sandy Beach, Saskatchewan, he won a CIS National Championship with the Acadia Axemen, an Allan Cup with the Lloydminster Border Kings. He's a teacher and counselor in the Lloydminster Public School Division, and now the head coach of the Lakeland Rustlers female women's hockey program. I'm talking about Morgan Mann. So buckle up, here we go. Welcome to the Sean Newman Podcast. I'm joined today by Morgan Mann. Second time for you on the podcast. It's changed a little different since the last time you're in. But first off, thanks for.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate coming back. Yeah, your office looks great.
Well, and you're on the wall, good sir.
Right.
Now, the reason we got you in today is I've read the article in the Booster, or the Source, what have you, about the new team with Lakeland College. I guess I'm curious about the details as well because, I did a little bit of digging on Lakeland College hockey. They've been around since 1913, Lakeland College itself, so over 100 years. They started out with hockey, then it just disappears. And then for people who've been listening to the podcast since the very beginning, Dad played for the Lakeland, or I guess the Vermilion Rustlers, because at that time they weren't the two campuses, and won a Centennial Hockey League Senior Championship in 1975 with the hockey club then. But there hasn't been, that little brief time in history, there hasn't been any college hockey, and it's kind of odd. We're, just before we hopped on here, we were talking about how talented the area is with hockey. Well, you're a man who's been with the Steelers now for several years. You're getting to see the women's side of it. Mm-hmm. So it to me, it's like, well, that makes sense, like perfect sense that there's college hockey. But shed some light on us for us.
Yeah, no, we're super excited to bring college hockey here to Lloydminster and to Lakeland College. I need to be caught up on some of the history of it. I really enjoyed your dad's podcast, but that part slipped. I missed catching that he had an error there, that there was the team in Vermilion. So I need to do a little bit of digging on that. But no, our area is really a hockey area. And I think it's just a natural segue for being an opportunity for female hockey players here in this area, with being one of the 6 designated spots in Alberta with the Alberta League, the AAA League. It makes a lot of sense. And so within Alberta, with the no borders for U18 in the female league, and so the U18 Steelers last year had players from Lethbridge, Calgary, Banff, all over Alberta. And so they come to Lloyd and have a good experience here with the Steeler program and with their billet families, and Lloyd becomes a second home. And then so the opportunity to stay on here for players coming in, or our players from the community to go to school here and play hockey, it's great. With eligibility being backed up through COVID the last couple of years, and there's a lot of players that just didn't have an opportunity to carry on with their hockey and at the college or university level. So this is providing an opportunity to a few more players to experience that. And so I think it's going to be a good fit here.
Well, I don't know. We sit in Alberta, Saskatchewan, right on the border, and in this part of the world, hockey, Canada, and hockey are just like the same bloody thing, right? Like, we're a hockey haven. Everybody loves playing hockey here. Mm-hmm. And women's sports are on the uptick, right? Like, women's hockey is definitely jumping leaps and bounds. And yet Lakeland College doesn't have a hockey program, and hasn't for some time, 40 plus years, at least since Dad played. And even then, wasn't the ACAC. It was a senior league, right?
Right.
And so the fact that you're getting the ball rolling on, I think is super cool. Now I got to know, are you going to play out of Vermilion? Because part of me goes, I think that'd be brilliant. Or are you going to try and play it out of Lloyd?
We're starting in Lloyd, and you're right. I mean, with the two campuses, and the Vermilion campus is maybe known for being a little bit more fun has had if on the Vermilion campus possibly. So that being said, I just think it's that campus would embrace hockey and the culture of what hockey is, and going out to games and supporting it and having some fun at the event. And so we will, although next year we're in the Alberta Junior Female Hockey League, so we're not able to jump right into the ACAC. The ACAC League requires you to have a year of exhibition and to just sort of
go through some hoops.
Yeah, show that you're a legitimate team and that you have things in place. It's not just a one and done outfit and some standards. So initially we were a little discouraged by that, thinking, we have momentum right now. It's right now at this moment with coming out of COVID that we have girls looking for places to play hockey, and thought we're missing the window here as things get going again in our country and in our own community here. I think we're anxious to see those opportunities come back to kids and things pick up in the community. I think the timing's right there, but to support a team. But as we got into it, looking at the junior league, it's a 10-team league. And actually just an email came in yesterday to those of us that are involved with the team that a team in the South has now asked also to join next year. So it's now looking like an 11-team league, which is a really healthy league. It'd be 5 in the North and 6 in the South. So there's an all-star game and a showcase weekend. The person in charge, Glenn Ball from Sherwood Park, he was one of the original founders of this league. Along, should mention Joe Holt out of Irma. Irma has had a successful team right from the beginning of the league as well, and so Glenn had said, you're going to enjoy this. You're going to find this league's pretty darn good and might just have everything you're looking for. That we think that you're going to want to stick around and stay with us. And it's there's some added expenses to moving to the ACAC. And our goal is still, to get to that point, because I think kids are looking to play
college
as
sports.
you played, Sean, to play college sports and to be in the college league. There's something to be said for that. And so, but if we don't get there after year one, or we're just very fortunate to be in the junior league, because it looks like it's going to be a great experience. So, circling back, what did you ask me originally?
Well,
there?
I think it's going to be interesting. You mentioned that they're giving you a year of essentially proving out that you guys are going to have a program and everything else. That happens lots in the States.
Does it?
I just think of the States. Lots of movement between leagues. Lots of clubs. School started those club programs.
Yeah.
Just get their feet and bearings under them. Start
Yeah.
to get a recruiting class, right?
Yeah.
Like you're starting from scratch.
Right.
So to hop in against schools that have been, I don't know how many years will the girls get to play in the ACAC? Is it 5 years of eligibility, or is it going to be a little different than that?
5 years. Yeah. And so this next year won't count as a year of eligibility against them with playing in the junior league. And so,
well, it's a big ever moving world. So it's probably a good thing to kind of just start out as a club, get your bearings.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I think like college sports there's a lot of fun had there.
Yeah.
And I bring up Vermilion because I just you take a look at the Lloyd landscape. You got the Bobcats, you got the Bandits. You just got a lot of hockey. You got all the elite programs.
Yeah.
You go to Vermilion. There's no knock on Vermilion. I think it's a perfect little college town.
Yeah.
To have some elite hockey played right there.
Yeah.
And why not? And the first hockey program in 40 plus years. I think it'd be a great slam dunk. So where you're playing out of the Russ Robertson and Lloyd.
Right. And just to and that's sorry, Sean, I get off topic, but we will, when we join the ACAC, we want to play some games in Vermilion for sure. Next year, in respect to Irma being another team in our junior league, Irma's draw zone is kind of Vermilion, and girls from Lloyd, when there was nothing available here, would travel to Irma. So the last thing we wanted to do is to add a team to the league and see another team, that took away from their ability to draw players. So next year we're not going to play league games in Vermilion out of respect of the kids coming. There will be kids from that area playing on the Irma team. So it's this might be a bit of a conflict of interest.
The reason I'm laughing is I saw Dad's question to you, because I called Dad because I wanted to ask him about what years he played.
Yeah.
And he goes, you should ask Morg if they're going to run with the same ugly yellow buckets and yellow pants they had back in the 70s. Yeah, I assume you haven't got to uniforms or anything just yet.
We have, actually. We're going with green pants and green buckets. But hearing that, I'm big on traditions and paying homage to the past and the history of things. So I'm wondering if we tell your dad, we just might look into
well, you're telling him right now because Dad's chuckling as he hears
okay. That's good to know, actually. We might follow that one up.
Well, he was telling me, if there's anyone from Lakeland College listening, he was telling me that he goes into all these. He was telling me about the Centennial Hockey League. He said it's now defunct. It hasn't been going for a while, but it had Lac-La-Biche, Vermilion. Vermilion actually had the college team and a senior team from Vermilion. Yes.
Yeah.
Two Hills, St. Paul, Elk Point is what he figured.
Yeah.
And he said, following me around in senior hockey, he always looks for these old Centennial banners and he can't find them because he said the first year they won it, a bunch of college kids playing in a men's league. He said they'd walk into Two Hills and have a bench clearing brawl, and then they'd walk into Elk Point and the same thing. And I'm going like, it's kind of funny, right? A bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-old kids going into a senior league.
Yeah.
I mean,
not easy to do. As we know, jumping into senior out of junior is that's a big step.
Well, if you find anything on the Centennial Hockey League, you'll have to throw it my way so I can tell Dad. But no, super cool. The other thing that's interesting about what you're having to do is instead of it being, I'm just thinking when I went to college, they had funding from the college to run the sport.
Right.
It's going to be funded from the community. So you're in the middle of trying to drum up some money essentially to try and make this thing. How's that going?
Oh, that's the hardest part of the whole process of putting a team together, recruiting players, and working with a great group of people from the community that are giving their time to. We're at the Russ Robertson, so we had to find a portable dressing room that Richard Klinger donated to us, to an old office. Not an old, it's a relatively new oil field office unit that we convert into a dressing room. And those pieces and the conversations with the college and the city of Lloydminster have all been terrific. It's you're meeting new people and new relationships. It's fun to be involved in those things, but the hardest part is for sure trying to go out and find the money to run the team. It is new. It will be the only team of its kind in Alberta that's especially in hockey. I think in all of the college athletics, and the ACAC will be the only team that's funded from the community. I think it's a model that's, as things tighten up through the 80s, colleges and universities got 80% of their funding came from the government. Now I believe it's less than 50%. Now don't quote me exactly on those numbers. Just the point is things are tight, and we've gone through a period of in Alberta and Saskatchewan and in our community where the economy's been tough, and so the money's not there from our own exhibition center in Lloydminster, the exhibition grounds. I mean, they've felt that they rely on government funding, and it's been hard for them too. So Lethbridge, both their male and female hockey programs are a year ago were canceled. Laurentian in Ontario, shut down. So I think, unfortunately, I think we'll see more programs coming to an end. But sometimes through these things, and just like I hear talk of some friends in the oil community here in Lloydminster that talk about now that oil prices have jumped back up, and I'm in an area that I don't know that much about, but just the comment that doing very well at the moment with the surge in the oil prices, just because their house or their business or however you want to frame it is they've had to clean up what they do and just be very responsible with where money's spent, and now sometimes periods of struggle allow you opportunities then to grow. And so I think that with it tightening up for supporting sports, that maybe sometimes there's definitely hockey teams, even in Canada, where some players are going to school and even making a little bit of money. Now that's not in the ACAC or the collegiate level of what we're playing, but I know some men's teams in Canada where players are coming out of the Western League with pretty good packages, and the package they're getting from the universities to go play there have them leaving making money. Now, is that really necessary? So that it means that programs are being shut down? I'm not sure if it does.
Well, you got your work cut out for you, because if you just had to walk in and coach a team, that'd be one thing. But you're gonna wear several hats this year. So I guess the question is that I got for you is, why, Mark? Why are you leading this one? Right? Like, I mean, I don't mean you're an old guy by any stretch, but you could have just stepped back and like, were you like, this is something I think would be healthy for our community? Like, if you can get it to run, of course it's going to be healthy for our community. But, like, I always come back to, people ask, you were just asking me about the bike trip. Like, why? It's like, I don't know. I kind of got this weird drive in me that I want to go do something.
Oh, it's a great question. And I do have moments of sometimes asking myself the same question. But I suppose there's a number of factors. I mean, I do really love I still love coaching at school. I like coaching teams where everybody makes the team. I have a rugby and wrestling program that everybody makes the team. And so if you have the courage to come out there and stand your ground on a rugby pitch, fantastic. It's not overly supported. We don't have a lot of parents coming out to watch the games, but what I see from young people in that sport, how it's a confidence builder, and how it can change their, how it can sometimes, what it can do for young people's mental health to connect and build relationships with other people through sport. And combative sports can it seems to do something.
Galvanize.
Does something to make teams or people even closer. So, I mean, I really enjoy that part. And even last year with COVID and the politics of, and it's in everything, of hockey, and sometimes the stress of dealing with, the boards or organizations that you're dealing with, the political parts of the game can be, I suppose nobody finds that much fun, really. But going out on the ice and practicing or skating, or seeing the young people working hard and being good to each other, and the commitment, and like our team last year was just a terrific group. You come to a 7:00 practice, and every single player was ready and dressed and standing by the gate at 10-7, and then hit the ice, just with all the effort and work that you could ask for as a coach. That's pretty rewarding to be involved with those types of people. And I mean, and then the other piece, I mean, and teaching is kind of this way too. Teaching and coaching are the same, in the sense that those relationships with young people and guiding them through that time through sport or school, as they go on and go into their own professions and have their families, and that you can, when you see each other at the rink or the grocery store or at their, now for me, now I've even had my first grandchild of my first student to come through, and to have Grandpa come back as somebody I taught, and that was a good experience for them. That's reward. That's the bonus in the job.
Yeah, that's I always if I go back to when I had you and Merv on, the way you guys talk about coaching and teaching kids, well, I've got to witness it, right? Is like super unique, I think, right? So you have a gift when it comes to stepping on the ice or stepping in front of a class, I assume. I love, whether it was Murray McDonnell or Mr. Armstrong when they got talking, because I wasn't a guy who played rugby or football where you have these large teams and very few cuts, if any. And hearing the way you guys talk about that and seeing how kids respond to all that is like really, really cool. And I think goes back to what we were talking about before we started, was you get to, sports as a way to put stress on people. And when you put stress on people, you get to see how everybody reacts to said stress.
Yeah.
And that pulls people closer.
Yeah.
Especially when you're all pulling in the right direction. And if you got the right guy at the helm who can balance all the kids' emotions and everything else, like yourself or Merv, were two fantastic that I got coached by Merv as a young kid, him and JP Kelly, right?
Yeah.
And to balance all the horses in the stable, so to speak, is really something, we both played a lot of hockey. So you understand the teamwork aspect of it.
Yeah.
And that's what you get to stick along doing. So being the head coach of the Rustlers and hopefully guiding that program for the next couple of years, you're getting to kind of keep your hand on being involved in that way.
No, I know I'll enjoy it, and working with great people, and so it's good to be busy, and so I can't wait till Game 1 in the Russ Robertson Arena, and I've said to my father-in-law Doug, who's handling all of our Doug's handling all the academic end of any of our students that are, that's as most high school. I mean, he does that at Holy Rosary. That's as a academic counselor, but that can be a bit intimidating for kids to try and that step from going from high school to college. There's a lot of figuring out with that. So having somebody that's helping with that transition and knows the staff at Lakeland College and connecting them to the right people and checking up on them to make sure things are sorted out, it's priceless. Anyway, I said to him that Game 1, the national anthem's going to be playing, and we'll look around and feel like, it's been worth it, and we're looking forward to that moment.
Well, I don't know. I'm a hockey purist. Just imagine you're talking the national anthem. I'm just thinking of seeing the Rustlers jersey on a bunch of women in the hockey rink, right? Like, obviously, we got national championships in like volleyball. Chris King in the women's basketball program has been fantastic. I know their futsal program, and like they got some very, very strong programs. Yeah. It just makes sense that the hockey guy in me has always wanted, I told Dad I once applied for assistant athletic director of Lakeland College. This is a long time ago now. Probably 7-8 years ago. And they asked me, what would you want to see done in your tenure if you got the position? I'm like, hockey? Simple. Let's get hockey going here. Like, that's the greatest sport in my mind. And we don't have it.
No.
And now you're bringing it. And so when you get to that point, dang right, you're going to have a big old grin on your face.
No, it'll be good. Really good.
Well, before I let you go, I know you're probably looking for sponsors, people to get involved, anything like that. How do people find you? And I'm assuming email, phone number, something like that, Morg.
And I'm not. We have a couple people on the Lakeland College is helping us out with their social media and have a Facebook page dedicated to our hockey team, and my cousin Jesse and my wife Leah are looking after the social media for our hockey team. So they have some stuff like set up and on Facebook and Instagram and I don't know. That's not my world.
I just want to coach the X's and O's.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we have a sponsorship package that that we put together in conjunction with the college that we're out speaking to people
actively about.
Trying to see if there's interest.
If I'm a business and I'm listening to this right now and I go, oh, I wouldn't mind getting involved. How do they find you to get the sponsorship package?
Give me a call, then my number should be on the Facebook page. I should be more prepared for that question.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll say this: if anyone listening wants to get involved, you can shoot me a message too on social media because I can steer you to more. Yeah, that's perfect. An easy thing. Now, your final one before I let you out of here: who's winning the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Oh, after Game 1 of between Vegas and
Colorado,
I thought.
Oh, Colorado.
I thought Colorado. Boy, I sure think that could be an interesting. They're mobile, quick, puck-moving defensemen, which has been a bit of a trend now in hockey. In the end, Vegas was their heaviness up front, and it was just too much for those D. The turnovers they caused, and so anyway, I'm now picking Vegas.
Well, I got to talk about Cale Makar for 2 minutes. I'm a small, mobile D-man, or I once was. I've gained a few pounds since my playing days. But when I was playing, that's what I was, a small, smart, mobile D-man. And I always had in my mind, if I was 6 foot, I would have been in the NHL, ha, ha, ha. And then I watched Cale Makar dance around the ice, and he's, 21 years old, 22 years old, 21, somewhere in there?
Yeah.
And he looks like he's a 10-year vet of the NHL. He is, he's going to win the Norris Trophy this year, is he not?
Yeah. He's very impressive, isn't he?
And he played in the AJHL.
Yeah, that's cool.
And he steps in the NHL and he's just dancing. And he's got, I don't know.
Was he 15 or 16 when he played here in the RBC Cup? 16?
16, I want to say.
Yeah. You were just speaking of the coach from Brooks. I mean,
Papuano.
He's been able to find a few of those players. I know Oscar Plendowski, Daryl Plendowski's boy. They recruited him heavily and had him out in his jersey, and he chose the Q, the Quebec Major Junior League, but gave serious thought to going to Brooks, and he's ranked to go in the 3rd round. I mean, they attract some of the top end players.
Well, I mean, Cale Makar's just a perfect sale piece for Brooks now, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna. Man, I was when they showed up the nominations, just watching him play. You know, him playing in Colorado, especially this year. We got a lot of the North Division, so if you wanted Colorado, you had to kind of search it out. But seeing him in prime time in the playoffs versus Vegas, he just does things as a defenseman that are oh man, that is fun to watch.
Yeah.
That is fun to watch.
Yeah. Knowing a high level of compete too, yeah. At times it almost seems like trying to do too much, but I think when you're down and you're trying to, they got in a bad spot, they're chasing, and so then you're guilty of trying to. You're better to be trying to do too much than not enough for sure. But he's special.
I gotta throw at you. New York Islanders can't get by Tampa, and with Barry Trotz at the helm, look at that team. Look at what they've been doing.
Yeah. That's who I would love to see that scenario. Barry, what Trotz has done. I mean, I think he's arguably the best coach in the NHL. What he did in Nashville. I mean, then to go and win with Washington. That's really cool to see the success he's having in his demeanor and being a Saskatchewan boy. And there's a lot to cheer about with Barry Trotz there. They're playing a great game. I'd love to see them get by Tampa.
Well. And for Lou Lamoriello to be kind of steered out of Toronto.
Yeah.
And then for Barry Trotz to be steered out of Washington after he wins a cup.
Yeah.
And then them both to go to the New York Islanders and lose John Tavares.
A couple of savvy vets.
Oh, man. And then to just watch them play. And I don't know, I forget what story I read, but I read a story it was about soccer over in Spain. And one of the all-time winningest coaches, and I know my viewership doesn't know nothing about soccer, just like I don't. But the story was cool. It was talking about this coach went into a losing program and said, you got to adopt. They had no fans. They just were a stinker. So you got to adopt your city.
It wasn't Ted Lasso.
It might have been. Did he adopt it?
Have you seen that TV series?
No, God, no.
Oh, you got to watch it.
Oh, you're making fun now. And I'm like, I'm showing like I know zero about soccer. He talks about going into a blue-collar town, and you got to have blue-collar players.
Yeah.
And when I watch the New York Islanders, I go, I wish they were the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
Because they play a hard style of hockey. They still got their talent.
Yeah.
They still got
Yeah,
the
that's
big,
fair.
right?
Philly,
right?
the Broads. I mean,
They embrace it.
The city loved their Flyers because they recognize the spirit of Philadelphia in their hockey players.
Now I'm going to be annoyed, Ted Lasso. I'm going to be like, I'm going to have to go look that up. I look like a real jackass.
It'll be time well spent. It's brilliant.
Well, thanks for coming on. Best of luck with the Lakeland the Rustlers.
Yeah.
I hope that goes. I will pencil in. When is the first game? If everything goes smoothly, when?
The league starts October 1st. So whether it's a home or away weekend, I'm not sure yet, or home game, but league starts then. We'll try and have a couple of exhibition games through September, but we'll let you when our first home game. We hope to see out there. I'll just mention in the sponsorship stuff too.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, Sean, that we're still looking for a naming sponsor too, so our team to be that sponsor that is synonymous with the name of our Rustler program, and so our big title sponsor. So anybody interested in that, we're looking.
The Sean Newman Podcast,
Yeah.
Rustlers.
Exactly. Yeah. So doesn't that sound good?
It sounds good. I don't think I can afford it just yet. Well, thank you, sir, for coming on and sharing a little bit about it. Best of luck. I think it's super cool.
Yeah.
And with you at the helm, I'm sure you guys will be a feisty team for sure, if nothing else.
Right on. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Hey, folks. Thanks for joining us today. If you just stumbled on the show, please click subscribe. Then scroll to the bottom and rate and leave a review. I promise it helps. Remember, every Monday and Wednesday, we will have a new guest sitting down to share their story. The Sean Newman Podcast is available for free on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever else you get your podcast fix. Until next time.